The day begins with Shirova standing quietly near a calm river, gazing up at the sky where some doves are flying, totally setting the mood. It's a peaceful scene, almost too peaceful for an anime start. After checking out the birds, she heads to the local shrine, standing before the altar to pray, hoping for some good RNG today. But her meditation gets interrupted by some NPC kids gossiping nearby, talking about a legendary champion who came to the island just to fix his broken fist. Fast forward to nightfall, and Shirova is grinding her swimming stats alone. It's dead silent, with nothing but the splashing water filling the audio track. Eventually, her stamina bar runs low, so she decides to take a breather, climbing out with water dripping everywhere, looking like a cinematic masterpiece. While changing gears, her mind drifts to her grandfather, who's always on her case, telling her to get good and work harder. She recalls his strict training regime, which is honestly a bit toxic. When suddenly, the background music stops. Footsteps echo from outside, but there's nobody on the radar yet. Her senses tingle, the door creaks, and an intruder enters the server. Shirova panic rolls back into the water, holding her breath to hide beneath the surface. The unknown player scans the area, and she tries to stealth it out, but her oxygen meter hits 0 and she has to surface. That's when she spots a wild boy standing there. It's Harry. He looks totally shook to see a mermaid spawn. Shirova is equally stunned and demands his ID immediately. Harry tries to be polite and introduces himself, asking for her name, but Shirova hits decline on that social interaction. Instead, she roasts him, claiming she's the admin asking the questions here. Harry is confused and slightly terrified by her boss energy. She finally softens up and asks if he's lost on the map. He admits he's trying to find the Kato house spawn point, but seeing her retreat into the water, he realizes he's making things awkward and decides to bail. He drops a polite apology and starts to walk away, but Shirova hits him with a quick guide on how to get there. She gives him the full walkthrough, but warns him that swimming alone is a great way to get deleted with no respawn. Harry thanks her, realizing he almost walked into a trap, while Shirova frowns, looking annoyed at her own kindness. She looks pretty done with this conversation. Harry senses the danger, apologizes again, and sprints out of the render distance. Shirova watches him leave, clearly thinking about that encounter. The next day, she heads to the item shop. She camps the ice cream fridge, searching for loot, when suddenly a wild welcome attacks her from behind. She spins around, totally startled. It's Ao. Ao laughs and tells her to chill, before dropping the bomb that they're out of watermelon bars today. Shirova looks devastated and starts to walk away empty-handed, but Ao senses the mood shift and trails her. She asks if Shirova wants to join a welcome dinner party tomorrow night. Shirova asks who the party is for, and Ao reveals it's for Grandma Kato's grandson. Shirova immediately connects the dots to Harry. She asks for his character design, and Ao explains that Mickey thinks he seems like a solid dude, adding that he's already formed a party with Tenzin and Ryuichi. Shirova listens quietly, processing the intel. She gives a vague "I'll be there if I can," and then logs off. That night, she's back to grinding her swim levels. She's pushing hard, focusing on her form, but when she climbs out of the pool, she spots an intruder nearby. It's Harry again, stalking the perimeter. She's shocked and asks if his GPS is broken again, but Harry shakes his head, denying it. Now Shirova is suspicious. She asks if he's trying to trigger a romance event with her. Harry panics, yelling no way. He quickly drops a tip on how to buff her swimming speed, and then tactical sprints away before she can aggro. Shirova stands there, analyzing his advice. She decides to equip the new skill and try it out. Back home, she confronts the final boss, her grandfather. She tells him she needs to go out to fulfill a promise to her guildmates. He looks stern, but surprisingly grants her permission to leave the zone. She walks to the Kato house, but gets hit with a social anxiety debuff at the door. She turns around to abandon the quest, but Harry spawns right behind her. She jumps and he smiles, glad she actually showed up. Shirova thanks him, admitting his swimming cheat code actually leveled up her game. But then her mood flips. She thanks him again and wishes him a safe trip home, which totally confuses Harry. He reminds her that he literally just started his playthrough here. But before he can argue, she yells that she never welcomed him and speedruns away. Cut to Shirova on the beach, out of breath. She looks embarrassed about her outburst when Harry tracks her down again. He asks for context on her cryptic dialogue. Shirova dodges the question, saying it's none of his business. turning the tables to ask why he's even on this island. Harry explains he's handling his grandmother's loot and that he's forgotten how to enjoy summer events. Shiroha analyzes him closely. She sees a lost player just like herself. It triggers a memory of her own backstory, remembering when summer meant multiplayer fun with friends and family. Every day used to be a festival event. She tells Harry that this island map actually suits him well. Harry agrees quietly. Then Shiroha brings up the lore she heard earlier. She asks about the broken fist rumor from the kids. She wants to know the stats on that injury. Harry laughs, explaining it's just a metaphor for his mental HP. He went through some drama and came here to regenerate his mana. Shiroha realizes he's tanked a lot of damage too. And just like that, the friendship achievement unlocks. The next morning, Harry is refueling with Yumi, who tells him to stop idling and go explore the map. He heads out, thinking about the new party members he's recruited. Tenzin, Ryuichi, and especially Shiroha. He spots her fishing by the water and approaches. He says hello, and she looks up, asking why he's invading her spot. Harry claims he just saw a friend and wanted to chat, asking what loot she's trying to farm. Shiroha says anything, but after a long grind, her inventory is still empty. Harry steps up and asks to borrow the rod. He casts the line and waits for a bite. Shiroha warns him the spawn rate here is terrible. But boom, Harry gets a catch instantly. He brags that he used to be a pro crayfish hunter back in the day. Later, Shiroha cooks the fish, and Harry is blown away by her maxed out cooking skill. But after eating, Shiroha gets serious again. She tells Harry to stay away from her, claiming that partying with her leads to bad endings. But Harry ignores the warning flags and invites her for ice cream instead. She agrees, grabbing a watermelon bar. She's about to consume the item when Tenzin and Ryuichi ambush them with a surprise attack. She jumps and the precious ice cream slips, landing right on Harry's shirt. He quickly unequips his shirt to clean up, while Shiroha kneels in despair because her loot is ruined. The guys ask what the drama is about, and suddenly Ao and Mickey enter the scene. They see Shiroha looking depressed and the boys hovering, and Shiroha mumbles she lost something important. Ao and Mickey misunderstand the situation and assume the boys are griefing her. Mickey pulls out a water gun, and a massive PvP water battle erupts. The girls win the match, laughing that it was fun, but Shiroha isn't smiling. She disconnects, saying it wasn't fun at all. The next day, Harry finds her at the fishing spot again, asking if she's okay in this heat, but realizes she's AFK, she's unconscious. He carries her on his back to get her to safety. After dropping her off at home, he runs into Tenzin and Ryuichi, who need to have a serious talk. They drop the lore on Shiroha's curse. Years ago, a classmate hung out with her, but then rumors spread that she was a bad luck magnet. One day, that kid fell off a cliff. He survived, but the server chat blamed Shiroha. Harry thinks it's just a coincidence, but the boys explain the deep lore. Her family runs the Naru shrine, and they used to control the island's rituals. Because of that, superstitious locals treat her like an NPC with a cursed debuff. She's just a normal girl, but the town has judged her unfairly. However, Tenzin and Ryuichi notice that her happiness stats go up when she's with Harry, so they assign him the mission to watch over her. Harry listens, smiles, and accepts the quest. The next morning, it's noodle time with Yumi. They're enjoying the meal, and Shiroha is there too. The food gives a major stamina buff, and they finish quickly. Yumi crashes immediately, falling asleep right there. Harry and Shiroha watch her, realizing they are sitting dangerously close to each other. Cue the awkward conversation. Shiroha asks if they are siblings, but Harry clarifies it's a complicated family tree. He admits he's surprised she actually visited his base. He didn't expect her to show up. Shiroha says she just wanted to return the favor for yesterday. She claims she didn't plan on being a master chef or staying late. It was all a total accident. Harry smiles, saying he wanted Yumi to taste her S-tier cooking anyway. He apologizes if it was a hassle, but Shiroha denies it. She admits it was actually fun to be in such a lively environment for once. Then she remembers her curse status and stands up. She says she has to go. Harry gets worried. He asks if she thinks staying will trigger a bad event for him. Shiroha stays silent. She doesn't answer and just walks away. But Harry calls out, telling her to wait. He invites her to hang out again, refusing to let her play solo. The next day, the squad reassembles. Everyone is happy except Tenzin. who looks devastated. He explains that his special move was so OP it literally broke the ping pong table in half. He already talked to the shop owner's son, Takuta, who can get them a new one, but there's a paywall. They need gold and Tenzin is broke. Suddenly, the squad starts plotting on how to stack some cash as fast as possible. Some fast cash, with Alice suggesting they sell her Grandma's old pickles or even Mickey's water guns, but Mickey claims her weapons are way too OP. So Shiroha suddenly gets a big brain idea to open a food cart downtown, which everyone instantly hypes up since it sounds exactly like a school festival arc where Shiroha is the head chef and she happily agrees to carry the team to victory. So the guild immediately gets to work, borrowing a cart and gathering all the required crafting materials and ingredients, setting up shop at the port to start grinding for some gold. And their first day is actually a massive success, leaving the squad super hyped as they take their fresh loot straight to Takuta for the table. But the NPC completely refuses to take their hard-earned cash, explaining that because Shiroha is in their party, the item is completely free, making the group wonder if he's simping for her. But he denies that romance route, claiming it's just out of respect for her family's buff, since they basically carry the island's community, making it only fair to waive it. So the crew happily lugs the new table back home, and Harry suggests they give all the leftover gold directly to Shiroha since she completely MVP'd the entire mission with her top-tier cooking skills and massive brain strats. But our girl respectfully declines it, saying she literally wouldn't even spend the currency anyway. So Ao tells her to fast travel to the main island to buy some cosmetics, but Shiroha refuses to enter that zone playing solo, prompting Ryuichi to instantly ship her with Harry for a duo date run, which she legitimately shoots down smiling, claiming she has zero interest in dating. But the very next day, Harry is at the port checking his watch while a flashback reveals he actually got a call from Shiroha, who decided to spawn in and invite him out for dinner, telling him to rendezvous at the port. So returning to the present time, we see him patiently holding the line until she finally arrives looking flawless, as she smiles and admits she just wanted to formally say thanks for inviting her over before. Harry smiles at her wholesome gesture and they officially start their quest, hopping onto a ship where Harry asks if she has any specific map coordinates in mind today, prompting her to pull out a magazine showcasing a Western-style restaurant that she really wants to loot. And while talking, she spots a shiny new cosmetic on his wrist, which he explains is a special edition watch he snagged from an event, though Shiroha notes he never equips it back on the island since tracking time there is pointless and he only wears it for serious runs. But soon they arrive at their destination, only to realize the servers are down and the restaurant is closed, so they just vibe on a nearby bench eating random snacks which still taste pretty awesome, as Harry looks over at a nearby train station, explaining they could easily take it to hit a connection straight to his city, which makes Shiroha super curious to visit someday. But Harry quickly nerfs the idea, saying his hometown is actually incredibly boring and slow-paced, adding that he doubts he'll ever actually take her there before they go shopping, playing mini-games and enjoying their time like two max-level besties until evening arrives and Harry calls for a retreat back to the island, where Shiroha tries thanking him again, but suddenly her eyes lock onto a poster for an upcoming ritual, making her look totally disturbed as a strange vision suddenly hits her while Harry reads it aloud, asking if she's involved in the event. But her entire tone completely shifts, entering a serious mode as she tells him to leave the island, immediately reminding him of her past warnings, though Harry calmly tanks the rejection, saying he still doesn't know how to spend his summer, to which she coldly replies he never will, before walking away, leaving Harry to return home totally gutted, where Kyoko hands him a letter that instantly triggers a massive realization in his brain, making him immediately think of Shiroha. So he desperately sprints back to her to drop his tragic backstory, revealing he was the main character of a public high school swim team, surrounded by supportive teammates who literally crowned him their star swimmer. But when the tournament arc finally hit, his stamina failed and he couldn't even finish the race. Yet no one blamed him, making him cry from sheer gratitude, swearing to grind harder. But sadly, he failed again, completely shattering his confidence and making him feel like an NPC in his own town, so he rage quit to this island. But even the people back home were kind, always leaving an open slot for him. So Shiroha asks if he's leaving, but Harry locks in and says he's staying because hanging with her is the only way he'll learn to enjoy summer, yet she instantly blocks his advance, saying she literally can't let him stay before dropping her own tragic lore about a guy who confessed to her but she friend-zoned him, yet he kept respawning to shoot his shot until she had a nightmare of him falling off a cliff, which terrified her. So she tracked him, and shockingly, the dream actually came true, making her realize she unlocked a cursed ability to see terrible futures, leaving her terrified that she was actually the one causing these bad endings. And now she drops the ultimate bombshell, revealing she's having a new vision where she gets deleted during this summer's festival, leaving Harry absolutely shook, as she adds that she's playing the priestess class this year, which isn't inherently dangerous. But then she drops an even scarier plot twist, saying that in her dream she's getting dragged into the river alongside another player, and Harry instantly realizes she's talking about him, explaining why she's been desperately trying to ban him from the island since she finally unlocked the high-res version of her dream earlier today and saw the exact same special edition watch he equipped, confirming his doom and begging him to leave because she refuses to drag another player down with her. But Harry completely tanks the emotional damage, staying perfectly calm, validating her visions while refusing to leave her solo, asking if she's truly okay with getting a game over, to which she admits they might be able to rewrite the code and dodge the bad ending, though she's terrified since she failed that first escort mission. But Harry assures her that her past warnings probably saved that kid from an even worse fate, promising that if they party up they can fight the dev's script, making Shiroha cry absolute tears of pure hope and joy. Before we cut to the next day, where Harry is face to face with her grandfather, who confirms Shiroha is locked in as the priestess. So Harry gathers his courage and formally requests to be her bodyguard to protect her from the incoming threat, prompting the old man to ask why, to which Harry confidently claims friendship status, making the grandpa demand he prove his worth in combat. So the very next morning everyone gathers at the shore when suddenly Harry comes flying out of the water, taking massive damage as Shiroha's grandpa reveals this is a traditional underwater combat trial to honor the sea god, and Harry must survive the boss fight if he's truly ready, leaving Shiroha completely stressed, watching her grandpa absolutely obliterate Harry in the water, making it super hard to watch until she remembers his promise to co-op everything together. While underwater, Harry is getting stun-locked and losing his HP fast as he slowly loses all his hope until Shiroha yells from the surface, casting a massive motivation buff on him, and her voice instantly refills his energy bar, letting him gather his ultimate strength to launch a counterattack that yeets her grandfather into the water, scoring him the massive W as he flashes a thumbs up. And later that evening, the grandpa addresses Harry, explaining that since she lost her parents 10 years ago, she's been completely isolated, with NPCs spreading toxic rumors preventing her from ever making any friends. So he tasks Harry with fully taking care of her, which Harry instantly accepts, promising to stay by her side and block any incoming attacks during the festival to finally put those rumors to rest. But there's a catch: only actual family members can accompany a priestess during the event, making Shiroha totally confused at first until she realizes exactly what that implies, turning her face bright red as she screams she can't marry him, though Grandpa clarifies it's just a symbolic title to exploit the rules, and Harry agrees, saying he owes her and wants to stay close just in case, prompting her to softly say she'd be thankful if it isn't a burden. So she smiles shyly, asking him to be her spouse, making Yumi and Kyoko absolutely lose their minds, celebrating the fake marriage. Next morning, the whole island is in grind mode, preparing for the Naxidori festival, with everyone crafting lanterns to light up the night sky, when Harry spots an NPC girl isolated from the crowd, looking completely depressed with a lantern in her lap. So after learning her mom was deleted from the server last year, he walks over to co-op with her, dropping some lore about the Obon Festival, explaining it's a limited-time event where spirits respawn to visit, and on the night of the Natsudori Festival, they log out again. But navigating the dark map is tough even for ghosts, so people light lanterns to cast a glowing buff, guiding them safely back to base. And later, Harry regroups with Tenzin and Ryuichi, ready for his costume fitting, where they randomly bring up Shiroha's old vision of them drowning, wondering if these heavy kimonos will cause a stamina drain, triggering Harry's big brain mode. So he immediately seeks out Shiroha, who has already equipped a stunning kimono, making Harry stare before asking a super sus question: how fast can she unequip it? Shiroha totally misunderstands and gets flustered, forcing Harry to quickly clarify that he just wants to know how she'll swim with all that heavy armor on, to which Shiroha agrees, saying she'll look into a lighter cosmetic skin, thanking Harry for always watching her HP bar. But that night, while checking the calendar, hyping himself up for the main event, he gets an urgent distress call from Mickey, who reveals Shiroha is MIA, and Tenzin and Ryuichi are currently searching the map, while Ao is using a disguise skill to cover for her. Harry immediately tactical sprints out, using his main character intuition to guess her spawn point, and sure enough, he finds Shiroha camping solo, scolding her that the whole guild is panicking because she went AFK without warning. But Shiroha looks devastated, admitting that as the festival approaches, her cursed visions are getting stronger, and she absolutely refuses to lose another party member she cares about. Harry softly replies that partying up with her literally saved his playthrough, begging her to drop the doom and gloom, reminding her that the entire squad feels the same way, and none of them are ready to accept a bad ending. Hearing this finally clears her debuff, and just as Harry calls for a retreat to base, she stops him, saying it's time to trigger a special cutscene. Harry turns around, and suddenly the ocean starts glowing with insane graphics, as hundreds of sea fireflies spawn in, looking absolutely magical. Shiroha drops some lore, saying her dad unlocked this spot for her, and for the last 10 years, this specific summer event triggers the fireflies, so they just stand there, soaking in the S-tier visuals and the peaceful vibe, until they finally return to the guild hall, where everyone is waiting, initially looking ready to rage at her, but the moment they see her face, all their aggro instantly drops. The next day, the massive summer festival finally drops, with the whole map getting a huge visual upgrade, bright lights, banners, and an upbeat soundtrack everywhere. Harry is speedwalking to Shiroha's spawn, when a glowing butterfly suddenly renders in front of him, so he follows the quest marker deep into the forest, leading him straight to a massive ancient tree, where he encounters Yumi, just standing there completely silent. He asks what she's doing outside the safe zone, but she just casually claims she's taking a walk, before dipping out without another word, leaving Harry super confused. So he sprints back to the shrine, panting and low on stamina, just in time for the butterfly cabinet ceremony to begin. Shiroha and Harry are fully equipped in their high-tier traditional gear, drawing the attention of the entire server, looking like the ultimate power duo. And after the ritual, Shiroha hits the stage for a solo performance, executing a flawless, elegant dance routine, while Harry watches in complete awe. Later that night, Tenzin and Ryuichi initiate the final phase, pushing the ceremonial boat into the water, with the lanterns glowing softly, and the whole vibe is completely maxed out, looking like a perfect 100% completion, when suddenly the sky darkens and a rain weather event triggers. Tenzin realizes this totally ruins their view of the lanterns floating away, and just as they're about to log off, Ao sprints up to Harry, desperately asking if he's seen Huda, begging him to intercept her if he spots her anywhere. Right then, Shiroha gets hit with a massive fear debuff, telling Harry her cursed dream just completely updated, and instead of just the two of them facing a game over, the vision finally rendered in 4K, revealing that the third player dragging them down is actually a little girl. Harry's face instantly drops as he connects the dots, realizing Huda is the one about to get deleted, probably trapped on that ceremonial boat. With the rain debuff getting heavier and the waves dealing massive knockback, Harry and Shiroha don't hesitate, jumping into a small boat with Ryuichi and speedrunning into the storm. Harry is screaming Huda's name, totally panicking, until they finally spot the boat bobbing in the dark water. Huda is sitting there crying her eyes out, explaining she thought this boat was a fast travel point to her mom, believing if she rode it, she could finally trigger a reunion cutscene. and she apologizes for griefing the event. Shiroha is completely stressed, reaching out to pull Hyuda to safety while calling for Harry's assist. When suddenly a massive wave crits the boat, rocking it violently. Shiroha loses all her balance and gets yeeted straight into the ocean. Harry totally panics, yelling at Ryuichi to secure Hyuda in the safe zone, before diving headfirst into the raging water to save Shiroha. He swims desperately through the depths, reaching out and finally grabbing her hand. But then a massive glitch occurs. As he gets a closer look, the character model is completely wrong. The girl he's holding isn't Shiroha at all. Suddenly, an admin voice echoes in his head, introducing themselves as the Weavers of Time, telling Harry that no matter how much he tries to break the game's code, the ending is hard-locked. Even if he manages to respawn her this summer, it's only a temporary buff, and their true fate is to be stuck in an endless time loop. Then a massive wave absolutely crushes him, wiping his minimap and leaving him completely disoriented, with zero idea which way is up. He starts to panic, but then glowing butterflies suddenly spawn in the water, acting as waypoints, guiding him through the darkness until he finally breaches the surface. Ryuichi quickly pulls him out of the danger zone, and Harry flashes a weak smile, relieved he didn't hit a game over. The next morning, Harry is packing up his inventory to log off the island, and the whole guild gathers to see him off. But Shiroha is completely missing from the party. Before fully disconnecting, Harry tracks her down for a solo chat, where she thanks him for hard carrying her this summer. But Harry humbly deflects, claiming it was a full squad effort. Then a super awkward silence drops, and the tension is painfully thick. So to break the ice, Harry decides to drop the most embarrassing line possible, confessing that the first time he saw her swimming, he accidentally caught a glimpse of her undergarments. Shiroha is completely shocked, her face turning bright red, demanding to know why he's bringing this up right before he leaves. Harry nervously stammers that his brain just blue-screened and he had nothing else to say, feeling totally overwhelmed. But then he immediately recovers with a critical hit, telling Shiroha that he used to think his future was as dark as the ocean depths, completely unreadable, until she became his guiding light, revealing that lighting up the dark path ahead is her true ability. Right on cue, Harry returns to the port, where the entire server is waiting to send him off, and he tells Shiroha that he finally unlocked the secret to enjoying summer. It was actually super simple, and he can't believe they ever forgot how to play, declaring that he absolutely loves summer now. Shiroha looks like she's about to drop a massive lore bomb, but the PA system suddenly announces the final boarding call, forcing her to swallow her words as time runs out. Before stepping onto the ship, Harry looks back, admitting their playtime was short but completely S tier. And then he finally drops the ultimate confession, saying he loves her. Shiroha is stunned, blushing so hard she might explode. As Harry boards the ship, waving goodbye to the guild, his eyes locked on her the entire time. Suddenly, she screams across the water that she loves him too, broadcasting it to the entire server. Harry gets super shy but insanely hyped, yelling back that he will definitely respawn on this island to see her again. But literally 2 seconds later, the captain gets on the mic, announcing a technical glitch that's forcing the ship to immediately turn back. Both Harry and Shiroha are absolutely paralyzed with shock, and cut to later, they're sitting together again, their faces practically glowing red with embarrassment, just sitting there in dead silence. Mickey hilariously snaps a photo to commemorate Harry's world record speedrun return. While back at the giant tree, Yumi mutters, "Next time for sure," dropping cryptic lore nobody understands yet. Then Kyoko suddenly gets hit with a flashback to when she fell asleep on the job, woken up by a sudden voice that she instantly recognized as Hitomi. She didn't even realize she was AFK until Hitomi yelled at her, though lately Kyoko's been struggling to tell if she's dreaming, awake, or literally a butterfly. Hitomi starts roasting her for being a nerd, but Kyoko demands to know why she's here. And Hitomi drops a quest, claiming a little girl and a boy are about to spawn at her location. The details were super vague, but Hitomi promised Kyoko's radar would ping the second they arrived. And with that, a butterfly just dips right out the open window. Sure enough, soon after, a girl named Yumi knocks on the door, and Kyoko lets her into the party. Not long after, Harry spawns in too, and fulfilling Hitomi's request, Kyoko goes full support mode, burning all her mana to take care of them. She even starts running a tutorial, teaching both Yumi and Harry how to write their names in Japanese. At first, Yumi is acting like a total NPC, straight up ignoring all of Harry's attempts to initiate dialogue. But since they were locked in the same zone all summer, her resistance finally broke, and they actually started building a solid co-op dynamic. Later that summer, Kyoko unlocked the storage room for Harry, which was basically a massive loot cave full of his grandma's items. She was a massive hoarder, keeping anything with a rare drop rate, which is exactly why Harry was drafted for inventory management. While they're talking, Harry's hunger meter hits 0, so Kyoko suggests a food break, but quickly backpedals, admitting her cooking stats are way too weird for normal players, instructing him instead to head down to the dining hall, telling him to drag Yumi along too. They grab food and are heading back to base, when Harry's rented motorcycle completely breaks down mid-ride. With 0 repair kits, he's forced into a brutal escort mission, pushing the heavy bike all the way back. While grinding through the walk, Harry looks up and realizes the skybox is absolutely stacked with stars. They might be in the middle of a blank map, but the cosmic graphics are an easy 10 out of 10. But the cinematic view gets interrupted by some splashing audio nearby. They follow the sound and discover a wild girl swimming solo in a tiny pool. They drop their usernames and she responds with hers, Shiroha. Harry immediately goes into protective mode, asking why she's out this late, warning her that night swimming is a fast track to a game over. He keeps lecturing her non-stop until Shiroha instantly mutes him with a single confusing word, Dosukoi, leaving Harry totally stunned. On the road, Harry whispers to Yumi about Shiroha's weird energy, but Yumi just thinks she's a total top-tier waifu. A few days later, Harry tries to grind his cooking stats, attempting to craft fried rice for Yumi, who requested the dish. But the result is a critical failure, scoring a pathetic 7 out of 100 from the judge. Even Harry refuses to consume his own toxic waste. Since Kyoko's loot room is still a mess, she assigns him a new side quest to look after Yumi. So with nothing else to do, they explore the open world, meeting various NPCs like the napping owl under a tree, realizing that while the locals have eccentric programming, they are undeniably friendly, allowing Harry to feel like he's finally settling into the server. Together, they unlock new map areas, riding scenic routes and joining parties with new friends, until Harry feels confident enough to serve Yumi another plate of fried rice, hoping for a redemption arc. But after one bite, she updates the score to an 8, which is barely a stat increase. Determined to get good, they visit the shop to ask Ao for a walkthrough, and Mickey suggests asking Shiroha, the local meta expert, revealing that since her parents ran a diner, she inherited their legendary cooking skill tree. Following this quest marker, they track Shiroha to her fishing spot, noticing her inventory is empty, which implies the RNG is not in her favor today. Harry asks why she's grinding here, and she calmly says she plans to eat the loot. But when her line finally twitches, she reels in a weird shell creature, making the duo seriously question her dietary choices. Harry decides to join the lobby and casts a line, managing to catch a modest fish despite the difficulty, before handing the controller to Yumi, who instantly outplays him by landing a massive catch that puts his to shame. Shiroha cooks up the rewards, and the visuals alone are enough to make them drool, but the taste is absolute S tier, earning a staggering 95-point rating from Yumi. Harry immediately begs for the recipe, but Shiroha starts explaining the requirements, claiming he needs a high-level wok, and when he admits he only has a basic pan, she instantly cancels the tutorial, saying it's impossible without the right gear. Yumi mentions wanting to eat family style, which accidentally triggers Shiroha's trauma about her missing parents, killing the vibe so hard that Yumi abruptly stands up and rage quits the conversation, leaving Shiroha in silence as Harry chases after her. On the walk back, Harry tells Yumi to stop suppressing her emotions since she's just a low-level kid, while Shiroha watches them despawn from a distance. That night, Harry finds Kyoko looking stressed in the road, revealing that Yumi has gone missing from the safe zone. It turns out her dad was always grinding at work, leaving her solo in the lobby. Harry tracks her to the ocean where she's reading a letter, and when he calls out, she instinctively yells "Dad," exposing how much she misses him, even though her real father is too busy with his career mode to care. Harry tries to defend the dad's grind set, but Yumi counters with lore, saying her father admitted he failed at something important, which is why he regrets running away. Harry is stunned, but Yumi admits she's doing the exact same thing, running away from the people who actually care about her. She wants to apologize but feels stuck, so Harry steps in, and she grabs his hand, refusing to run anymore. He kneels down, convincing her to return to base, where Kyoko is waiting with high anxiety stats. Walking back, Harry asks why she chose the ocean spawn, and Yumi casually says Dad wasn't home, referring to Harry, which freezes him in his tracks. She admits she was looking for him because she wants to stay in his party and stop fleeing. They finally arrive home, and Kyoko immediately pulls Yumi into a massive hug, while Yumi whispers an apology for her reckless behavior. Later that night, Harry asks what loot she wants to farm next, and Yumi falls silent before admitting she wants to do meaningful activities with her mom. Harry thinks of calling Kyoko, but Yumi reveals the hard truth: she doesn't have a mother account anymore. Wanting to grant this wish, Harry decides to recruit a substitute, heading straight to the fishing spot to find Shiroha. She's grumpy at first, but after hearing the tragic backstory, she understands the mission. She wonders why he's going so hard for this kid, and Harry explains that Yumi's situation hit him right in the feels, reminding him of his own escape, so Shiroha agrees to equip the mom title, but only on the condition that he pays her in watermelon bars. Harry instantly accepts the trade offer, grabbing her hand in excitement before rushing to tell Yumi the good news. But when the new mom arrives, the interaction is painfully awkward, with both of them having zero social skills. To fix the mood, Harry buys art supplies for a picture diary, making Ao proud to see him stepping up like a true dad. Back home, Yumi tests the diary, drawing Harry singing a psalm while posing as a Quetzalcoatl. And without hesitation, he performs the cringe act to make them laugh, before encouraging Yumi to draw her new mom doing the same. Shiroha has no choice but to copy the embarrassment, mimicking the actions with flushed cheeks, much to Yumi's delight. The next morning, the diary entry is about origami, and to Yumi's surprise, Shiroha has maxed out dexterity stats, impressing the kid so much she accidentally calls her mom, which Shiroha shockingly accepts. Later, they switch to paper airplanes, heading outside to test their flight range. But just as Harry is teaching the basics, Shiroha interrupts with her Hyper Mustang Special Dimension plane, claiming it has superior aerodynamics to Harry's. Competitive by nature, Harry accepts the challenge, turning a wholesome moment into a sweaty PvP match, frustrating Shiroha into a rivalry. As the adults argue, Yumi sighs, wishing for a simple co-op game instead of this intense competition, making Harry and Shiroha realize they are being childish, so they decide to work together, launching their planes into the golden sunset for a perfect ending screen. But this triggers a flashback for Yumi, remembering how she used to weaponize her mom's memory during arguments with her dad, leaving her feeling guilty afterwards. Back in the present, she eats Harry's latest fried rice attempt, giving it a score of 41, which is a massive level up, though Shiroha is confused why the recipe is still bugged. Later, Yumi draws a pool level in her diary, so the entire squad pulls an all-nighter to speedrun the construction of a slide and pool exactly as depicted. Seeing her smile proves it was worth the grind, and everyone is more than happy to keep fulfilling her magical requests. Her next drawing is a hide-and-seek event, where Shiroha plays the Seeker, rushing off to find everyone, instantly spotting Harry before using specific callouts to flush out Tenzin, and then shouting about a party to lure out Ryuichi and Mickey. She even uses a dirty magazine as bait to catch Ao, accidentally exposing her own perverted tactic. Now only Yumi is left, and Shiroha spots a hat sticking out of some boxes, thinking she's secured the win, but it's a decoy trap placed on a twig. Shiroha realizes Yumi is using pro strats, shifting her gaze to another pile of boxes, guessing she's copying Harry's hiding spot. And she is absolutely correct. The next day, the summer vibes continue, but suddenly the mood shifts. Wait for next batch. 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 Next round starts and Harry is officially it. Time to hunt or be hunted. Speedrunning through the map to find Tenzin, Ryuichi, Mickey, and Ao, until only Shiroha and Yumi are left in the server. Just as he's about to check a suspicious bush, Shiroha signals for silence, revealing that Yumi has already fallen fast asleep on her lap after the high-energy gameplay. Yumi's next diary entry triggers a karaoke quest where everyone sings their hearts out, even if their vocal stats are severely nerfed, leaving Tsumugi feeling a bit defeated since her idol tier skills aren't registering. But despite Shizuku's relentless coaching, Shiroha refuses to change her unique playstyle. Yumi struggles to keep the rhythm, but Shizuku keeps pushing the team, determined to teach the meta way. Meanwhile, to fix the vibe, Kamome suggests they all join the same lobby and sing together. Yumi is immediately hyped and calls for the MC to join the party, so they start again, blending their mismatched voices into one chaotic track. Even Kyoko, listening from the loot room, finds their performance quite unusual. In her next entry, Yumi writes about a rainy day where her mom reads her a book, prompting Shiroha to ask what kind of story she wants to loot. Instead of a standard drop, Kamome suggests they craft a custom picture book just for her. It turns out Shiroha has maxed out art skills, while Kamome provides the assist. Yumi chooses a butterfly theme, describing her dream design in vivid detail, while Kamome sketches the scene and the MC joins in to help with the drawings, which delays Kamome a bit, but she doesn't mind since the MC's contribution makes the item more valuable to Yumi. Eventually, the legendary picture book is finally complete, boasting a beautiful cover that impresses the whole squad. Shiroha begins the narration, telling the tale of a butterfly with glowing wings, keeping the vibe going until the sun outside hits that golden hour lighting. When it's time to log off, Shiroha and Kamome say their goodbyes, leaving Yumi asleep in the chair. She missed the ending cutscene, but they can always continue the playthrough tomorrow. Just as they're about to leave, Yumi stirs awake and demands an escort mission from the MC, insisting he walks them home and even warning them to bring umbrellas because a rain event is coming. With no other choice, he sees them off, stopping for watermelon popsicles on the way. Along the way, Shiroha notices the MC has stopped correcting Yumi when she calls him dad. It seems his character development is kicking in, but their conversation is cut short when Kamome reaches her house and waves goodbye to the party. Now it's just the MC and Shiroha walking the final stretch. Shiroha quietly confesses her anxiety about the parent role, fearing she can't handle it since she lost her own mother. But the MC reassures her, pointing out how Yumi has changed. Yumi used to have a massive shyness debuff, but now she's beaming with joy. All because Shiroha stepped up as her mother figure. He tells her to just care for Yumi the way she wished her own mother could have. And suddenly the rain starts pouring, exactly as predicted. Huddling under the umbrella, the MC praises Yumi's weather prediction hacks, completely unaware that Yumi had already scripted this entire event in her diary. The next day, Shiroha teaches Yumi the origami meta, which the kid loves, while the MC finds the diary entry from 2 days ago that already mentions today's rain. He wonders if she's using some kind of future sight cheat, but brushes it off as a coincidence. He drifts into sleep, dreaming about Yumi cooking, riding the bike, and calling him dad. He wakes up to find Yumi actually shaking him and calling him the same thing. Later, Yumi presents her origami creations and hits him with a clever paper trick. He pretends to be surprised, making her beam with pride, while Shiroha watches, having taught her all these pro-level techniques. The origami looks like a boat, but Yumi casually mentions that Shiroha will be riding one soon, which instantly shocks both of them. Shiroha thinks of the Natsudori ritual, a traditional festival event she's secretly involved in, but only her grandfather is supposed to have that info on lock. She starts questioning how Yumi can predict the plot, especially after getting the weather right. When Yumi spoils tomorrow's events too, Shiroha has a total breakdown, deciding to end the mother and daughter game right then and there. Yumi protests, but Shiroha pushes her away, claiming she's cursed before rushing out. The MC moves to follow, but Yumi stops him, sobbing as she insists Shiroha will return. He tries to chase Shiroha later, but she only repeats that she's a bad omen, leaving him staring into the distance. Back at the house, Yumi starts acting weird, whispering about how they keep missing each other and how this summer is the final season. The MC spots a photograph in her hand of them all together, but he has no memory of it. What's scarier is the date on the back, August 31st, a date that hasn't even arrived yet. Outside, the sky turns grey as another thunderstorm event begins, exactly as her diary predicted. The MC decides to confront her directly about her future sight hacks. Yumi calmly explains she came here to see her mother because she's already gone in her timeline. She never knew her, so she traveled back to this island server. The MC realizes she's an Isekai traveler from the future, and she confirms it. She's been sending her soul back into the past whenever she's upset, running from the present. But no matter how many times she resets, she always hits the same bad ending. Her father never spoke about her mother, who died while giving birth to her, making Yumi think he might secretly hate her character model. But he did tell her one story about a summer with a girl he met by chance. They went fishing, flew paper airplanes, and played by the pool. Yumi was so jealous of that story that she decided to spawn into this timeline herself. She admits she eventually found her mother's photo, but her dad almost found it. So she ran away and fell over a cliff, but before hitting the ground, she touched a butterfly. Her entire body was transporting to this time and placed through a glitch in reality. She's been reliving this same summer over and over just to spend time with her mom. But something feels different. This might be her final playthrough. The MC finally realizes that the mother she's looking for is Shiroha, and Yumi confirms that he, the MC, is her father. The truth hits him like a critical hit. He never knew she was his daughter. He chooses to trust her completely, even if the law sounds impossible. He starts cursing his future self for being such a toxic dad, but Yumi disagrees, saying that after all these summers, she's realized how kind he truly is. Meanwhile, Shiroha is also crying alone, thinking about Yumi. The MC watches Yumi sleep, realizing how lonely her entire life has been. He stays up reading her diary until dawn, determined to make this the happiest summer yet. He wakes up to find Yumi clinging to his arm, crying about her mother in her sleep. He makes a silent promise to protect her smile and fun stats, but first he needs to fix things with Shiroha, so he heads to the shop to consult Ao. He admits that seeing them together gives him a massive happiness buff, letting him regain everything he lost while running away from the world. Ao tells him he needs to hear the truth directly from Shiroha, so he heads to the beach. Turns out her dad eventually ghosted the island and left her all alone, claiming she's cursed and telling him to stay away. She swears she's fine relying on her smartphone apps, but Harry is definitely not buying it. When she first stepped foot here, the nostalgia hit her like a truck gun. Her dad trashed all her mom's photos, so she tracked down her grandpa to find at least one. She finally secured the loot, but her dad almost caught her red-handed. Terrified he'd delete her only memory, she bolted like an MC, but a tree root nerfed her and sent her flying off a cliff. As she was falling, she spotted a mysterious butterfly floating in the air. The moment she touched it, she glitched out and vanished, teleporting her entire body to this exact time and place. Since that day, she's been stuck in a loop, reliving the same summer over and over. She did it all to be with her mom, but now the vibes are off. She feels like the loop is finally breaking. That's when Harry realizes the mother she's talking about is actually Shiroha. Yumi confirms it. She's known all along because she's been following Harry, her actual father. Our MC is absolutely shook. He had no idea he was talking to his own daughter from the future. Even though it sounds like some wild sci-fi plot, Harry chooses to trust Yumi completely. He can't help but blame his future self for being such a trash-tier parent. But Yumi isn't having it. After countless summers watching him, she knows he's actually a total legend and is just happy he's her dad. Meanwhile, Shiroha is also in her feelings, quietly sobbing over the thought of Yumi. Harry watches Yumi drift off, finally understanding the crushing loneliness she's been fighting. He dives into her diary, pulling an all-nighter reading every page until the sun comes up. By sunrise, Harry is locked in. He's going to give Yumi the most op summer of her life. He wakes up the next morning and finds Yumi clinging to his arm like a total koala. She's sleep-talking about her mom with tears in her eyes, which is straight-up heartbreaking. Watching her, Harry makes a silent vow to the heavens. He's going to bring the fun back into her summer, no matter what. But first, he's got to figure out what's going on in Shiroha's head. Later, Harry hits up the shaved ice shop to get some veteran advice from Ao. He admits he's doing this for himself too. Seeing the two of them happy is his ultimate fuel. Being with them is helping him heal the scars he brought to the island. He came here running away, but now it feels like he's finally finding his true north. He wants this summer to be a core memory for them. Ao tells him he's got to hear the truth straight from Shiroha's mouth. Harry wastes no time and marches straight to Shiroha's fishing spot. She's sitting there in a total trance, completely lost in her thoughts. She doesn't even realize she's got a bite until Harry points out the line tugging. She snaps to and pulls with everything she's got, only to reel in a random starfish. Harry tries to bring up Yumi, but Shiroha is done playing the mother figure role. Her cold words from yesterday are still living rent-free in his head. He wonders if she's dodging him because of that curse everyone talks about. But Shiroha just hits him with the stay away and refuses to elaborate. But our MC isn't backing down. He tells her he's going to keep chasing her until she spills the beans. Pushed to her limit, Shiroha finally turns around and yells, "Dostokoi." The word hits Harry like a physical truck, but he just stands there with a goofy smile on his face. No matter how many times she tries to ban him from her life, he's determined to understand her lore completely. Realizing he won't quit, Shiroha finally opens up her private chat, revealing that she actually has future sight hacks. In her visions, she's a bad omen who brings misfortune, which is why she keeps everyone at a distance. Harry tries to claim it's just bad RNG, but Shiroha admits she once tried to change her fate too, only for the script to follow the same depressing route every single time. Harry asks for a detailed description of the vision, so she describes a dark sea under a heavy storm. From deep underwater, she watches the surface, which is covered in countless red lights that signify her impending game over. It's a suffocation event where she literally can't breathe. Shiroha reveals that she saw a vision of the Natsudori festival, where she has to guide the souls to the afterlife. She's convinced that she's destined to fall off the ship and meet a watery end. Now it all makes sense. That's why she's been grinding at the pool. She's terrified of drowning. She feels like her bad ending is already written in stone. She's trapped by a future she can't seem to escape. Harry tries to be the supportive MC, but Shiroha pushes him away, choosing to suffer alone, preferring to carry the curse alone than to let her party members take collateral damage. She drops a quick sorry and a thank you for the summer memories before speedrunning away. Harry reaches out but can't catch her, leaving him to rage at his own powerlessness. When he finally returns to base, he finds Yumi crying, desperately folding origami while waiting for some kind of good news. She realizes her mother might never return and completely breaks down, pulling out a hidden letter. Harry notices she's been clutching this item for a while, so he asks for the lore behind it. Yumi admits it's a letter from her mom, but she can't read the script because it's too difficult. Harry steps in as the narrator, reading the first line, "Read this when you're sad." The letter starts with, "Read this when you're sad." It tells Yumi to stop bottling everything up and to share her pain so the burden isn't so heavy. Harry can't help but let the tears fall while he tries to comfort Yumi. He wonders about the pain Shiroha felt writing it and the hope Yumi felt while holding onto it. Seeing Yumi's heart breaking for her mom, Harry finally accepts the quest to be the father she needs. They head straight to Shiroha's place to settle things. Yumi recognizes the house and talks about how kind her grandpa is, which eases the tension. Harry starts to relax, thinking this will be a smooth social encounter. But then the door opens and they're met by a literal tank of a man. It's Shiroha's grandpa, Kobato, and his aura is so menacing that Yumi hides behind Harry like an NPC. A moment later, Shiroha finally shows up to face them. They try to explain themselves, but Shiroha is still playing it cold and distant. Still, Harry isn't backing down. He's determined to be her shield. But when he mentions the ritual, Kobato absolutely loses it. He tells Harry to stay out of island business and calls his warnings complete nonsense. He explains that rumors on this island spread like a virus, and it's what turned Shiroha into a loner. He thinks the festival is the only way for her to break the isolation and change her story. Harry tries to argue that she's alone because she's scared of hurting people. But Shiroha puts an end to the bickering and scolds both of them on the spot. Harry and Kobato have no choice but to humble themselves and apologize. But Harry insists Shiroha isn't alone anymore. He and Yumi are here to tank any damage that comes her way. Kobato isn't impressed though. He's been protecting her since she lost her parents. He especially doesn't trust city boys who talk a big game but have no stats to back it up. He tells Harry that if he wants to stand by her, he has to prove he's built different. Harry accepts the challenge, and Kobato reveals the game, traditional underwater combat. They head to the beach to settle this like men. There's a ring of boys in the water. It's a literal aquatic sumo match. The rules are simple. First one out of the ring is the loser. Suddenly, Harry gets a flash of himself drowning and starts to panic. He shakes it off, but Shiroha is clearly worried for him. Kobato dives in first, looking like an absolute raid boss. The rest of the squad shows up to cheer him on, but the vibes are half joking as usual. They want to help, but this is a solo mission fought under the waves. Finally, Harry takes the plunge and enters the sea. Everyone on the shore holds their breath as the duel begins. Underwater, Kobato lunges with insane speed, catching Harry completely off guard. Kobato's punches are landing fast, and our MC is struggling to even keep up. He tries to counter, but his attacks are doing zero damage. Kobato grabs him and starts spinning him like a whirlpool, draining Harry's oxygen. He tells Harry to tap out, but our boy's got that never give up protagonist energy. He knows Kobato is testing his resolve, so he refuses to surrender. Kobato starts throwing hands at crazy speeds, and our MC Harry is taking mad damage. Just as Kobato goes for the finishing move, a glowing butterfly appears out of nowhere. He hears Yumi's voice calling his name, giving him a massive power boost. He counters Kobato's throw, kicks him out of the ring, and secures the W before passing out. Seeing his HP drop, Kobato tells him to tap out, but Harry's got that main character plot armor and refuses. He actually did it. He took down the island's strongest man, though he almost saw the light. Shiraha also almost drowned trying to save him, making the whole scene a total mess. He sees Shiraha and Kobato nearby and asks why she risked it all for him. Suddenly, he hears Yumi's voice echoing like a buff spell, pushing him past his limits. Kobato is still acting tough, calling Harry a loser even though he lost the match. He finally asks Harry what he wants as his prize for winning. He actually pulls off the upset and defeats Kobato, though he almost got a game over drowning, and Shiraha nearly took the L trying to save him. But Kobato shuts him down. Rules are rules and only family can participate. Since this is a sacred festival, they have to follow the ancient laws of the island. Suddenly, Yumi rushes over and starts calling Shiraha mom, which confuses everyone. Kobato starts panicking, but Shiraha plays it off as them just playing house. Then Yumi runs over to Harry and calls him dad, turning the confusion up to 11. Kobato is fuming, but again, they just claim it's all part of the game. Since this festival is a major story event, they gotta follow the server rules. Kobato is totally mouthing over it, but they literally have zero choice. Yumi randomly rushes over to Shiraha, giving her head pats and calling her mom. Kobato completely short-circuits, but Shiraha quickly covers, saying they're just role-playing. Totally defeated by cuteness, Kobato gives them his blessing to get married on the spot. The old man gets even more tilted, but they just brush it off as part of their little NPC game. Yumi drops a massive lore bomb, saying if Shiraha is mom and Harry is dad, they should totally be married. He suggests they start as sweethearts and see where it goes from there. Still, Harry plays it cool, claiming it's all just part of the side quest. Then Yumi hits Kobato with the ultimate emotional crit, walking up and calling him grandpa. Next day, Yumi is already drawing her parents' wedding in her diary. And just like that, the timeline starts moving at breakneck speed. The ritual is almost here, and they're heading toward that fateful day from Shiraha's vision. Harry tells Yumi to stay safe at home until he gets back from the ceremony. Yumi is sad she can't see her mom in action, but Harry isn't taking any risks with her safety. Our MC is completely serious, so they lock in the romance route, officially acting like sweethearts. To screenshot this legendary moment, Harry and Shiraha take a squad pic with the whole guild. The next day, Yumi updates her quest log, drawing a super cute picture of her mom and dad getting married. And just like that, the pacing goes into overdrive. They finish the ceremony and are officially pronounced husband and wife. Shiraha performs a ritual dance that has Harry completely mesmerized. Finally, it's time to head to the sea and begin the real ritual. Meanwhile, Kyoko is completely mind-blown that her nephew speedrun the marriage route in a single summer. As Harry heads to the main event, a mystical glowing butterfly spawns right in front of him. They make it back to shore safely, and Harry thinks they've finally beaten the bad ending. Fast forward, Harry and Shiraha equip their ultra-rare traditional skins. They clear the butterfly ritual event and are officially pronounced husband and wife. With Kobato and the local NPCs watching, Shiraha drops an op dance animation that leaves our MC totally speechless. Finally, they head down to the ocean to trigger the final ritual sequence. They hop into the boat, with the water glowing like a crazy high-budget cutscene thanks to the lanterns. Cruising across the map, the newlyweds hold hands, but Harry keeps his guard up, scanning for boss spawns. At last, the escort mission ends, and they safely fast travel back to shore. Harry thinks they totally dodged the bad ending, but Shiraha's danger sense is still tingling. Suddenly, the dynamic weather shifts and rain starts pouring. Even though they cleared the main quest, Shiraha's face drops as she randomly asks about Yumi. When Harry says he left her safely at home, Shiraha clutches her chest like she just unlocked a tragic vision. Grabbing RMC, she whispers in pure panic that they have to go back. Yumi is still out on the boat. Our dynamic duo jumps right back on the boat, determined to rescue Yumi from a completely different vessel stranded in the ocean. Yumi calls out to them in absolute terror through the relentless storm. They finally reach her boat, and she's already apologizing, but Shiraha and Haori are only worried about her safety. Shiraha reaches out, telling Yumi to jump over to their ship. But just as Yumi goes for it, a massive wave slams the boat, sending her straight into the deep dark ocean. Without a single doubt, our MC Haori dives into the water to save his daughter. He scans the vast blue while Shiraha follows right behind him. Through the chaos of the waves, Shiraha spots Yumi sinking deeper and deeper. She swims down with everything she's got, stretching her hand toward the light. She finally grabs Yumi, but right then her lungs hit their limit. Seeing the danger, Haori rushes over and shares his air with Shiraha, giving her the boost she needs to survive. Using every bit of his strength, Haori pulls both girls close and kicks toward the surface until they finally see the ship. Later on, Yumi is tucked into bed, completely AFK as Kyuko keeps a close watch over her health bar. Shiraha is back at her home base, exhausted but feeling that massive wave of gratitude. She survived the boss fight and Yumi is safe too. Haori is drowning in relief because their entire objective this summer was to stop Shiraha from being deleted by the sea as her vision predicted. But Shiraha starts feeling that guilt debuff since her party members got hurt because of her, though Haori firmly tells her it was their choice to co-op and she needs to stop apologizing. Even so, those visions are haunting her, and Haori admits he also saw the red lights above the water, which to Shiraha means the future is still hard-coded. She's convinced they haven't actually changed a single line of the script. But Haori shakes his head, insisting the goal isn't to delete the future she saw, but to change the interpretation of the cutscene. What she saw isn't the game over screen, maybe it's just the trigger for the next quest. Beyond that moment, there are still countless branching paths, and he's betting everything on reaching a beautiful true ending. Shiraha has never thought about the law this way. She's always been too focused on protecting others solo, which Haori calls her out for, saying it makes her a total loner. Though she tries to deny it, Haori confirms her loner status has officially been revoked. After all, he and Yumi are permanent members of her party now. Accepting his words, Shiraha finally feels her burden being nerfed. The future isn't the end of the world. It's just one more level towards something better. With this, she drops a quiet thank you. But as she talks about looking forward to the future, she suddenly blushes hard, remembering that underwater moment where Haori shared his oxygen. Totally flustered, Haori quickly explains that wasn't a romance kiss, just a tactical air transfer so she wouldn't drown. Shiraha pauses, realizing his logic is sound. If it was just an emergency rescue, then technically her first kiss slot is still open. Neither of them has actually had their first real romance event yet. The atmosphere gets heavy as they realize they're both beginners in this area. Then Haori nervously asks if they should trigger that event right now. Shiraha panics at first, but after a second of processing, she admits she doesn't mind the idea. Slowly they draw closer, the tension in the room hitting a maxed out level. Shiraha closes her eyes, taking a deep breath for the cutscene. Gently, Haori places his hands on her shoulders and presses a soft, tender kiss to her lips. The next day, Shiraha visits Yumi, who immediately launches herself at her for a massive hug. Shiraha asks about her status, and Haori reassures her that Yumi's health bar is fully recovered. Shiraha cooks up a feast for the squad, and Kyuko instantly praises her cooking skills. As they eat, Haori notices a glitch. Yumi is holding her chopsticks the wrong way. This puzzles Kyuko because Yumi never had a problem with those controls before. Yumi tries to pick up food again but fails, looking like her dexterity stats have been nerfed. Kyuko fetches a spoon so the kid can actually eat without frustration. Haori and Shiraha exchange worried glances, fearing a side effect from the ocean incident. Yet the doctor said she was fine, and Yumi herself insists she isn't feeling any pain. So they decide to just brush it off as a temporary bug for now. Later that day, they decide to craft some paper airplanes. Yumi is eager to play, but her folding skills seem completely broken. Haori tries to walk her through the tutorial, but she keeps making the same errors over and over. Seeing her frustration, Shiraha steps in, suggesting they co-op on a single plane instead. When they finally yeet it into the air, Yumi laughs brightly, chasing after it with delight. Meanwhile, the parents stay behind, quietly watching her play in the sunset. The next day, Yumi writes a diary entry about pranking her mom, which somehow gets her dad in even more trouble. To make the entry come true, they seek out Al for some expert prank advice. She mischievously suggests the classic skirt flip, which Haori immediately denounces as perverted. though Mickey admits that for a prank, it's a high-impact move. The plan is simple, but they have to time their skills perfectly. Ao calls Shiroha over, while Harry peeks from around the corner to ensure the frame-perfect timing. The second Shiroha arrives, Yumi rushes her for a hug, only to slip behind and lift the skirt while Harry gets caught in the line of sight. Shiroha's face goes blank, and Harry can already feel his life bar flashing red. In a terrifyingly low voice, she threatens to delete Harry's memories with her fist. He tries to plead innocent, but when she asks Yumi who the mastermind was, the kid sells him out instantly. Shiroha scolds Yumi gently, but surprisingly the kid seems happy to get scolded by her mom, apologizing with a huge smile. Turning back to Harry, however, Shiroha's eyes turn cold as she calls him a creep. That afternoon, the squad gathers at their usual hangout spot. Harry and Ruichi are teasing about the view, but the others agree Harry deserved every bit of that rage mode. Ao and Mickey wonder why he even went along with such a sus prank in the first place. Harry explains he was just trying to follow the script in Yumi's diary. But the moment he says her name, the friends look confused and ask, "Who's Yumi?" Harry freezes as if he's been hit by a stun grenade. Then, as if the server just refreshed, they suddenly remember her again. They recall the prank was for her sake, but that brief lapse in memory is super unsettling. The next day, Harry is in line for the morning calisthenics check-in. The coach notices Harry is holding 2 cards, and a chill runs through him as he realizes he almost forgot Yumi again. Panic floods his system as the other kids stare at him like he's a weirdo NPC. He rushes out of line, cursing his own brain, and speedruns back home. He finds Yumi still asleep and frantically shakes her awake. She's late for the event, but as she wakes, she bursts into tears calling for her mother. Harry can't understand why her behavior is so erratic lately. When Shiroha appears, Yumi finally calms down, clinging to her like a lifeline. They wonder if she's experiencing some kind of memory regression, but Yumi refuses a hospital visit. Then Harry gets a flash of a memory, a version of Yumi he doesn't recognize. It catches him off guard, but he tries to ignore the feeling. He knows he's forgetting a crucial piece of the lore, even if he can't point it out. That evening, Yumi's diary predicts rain and a bath time event with her mom. Right on schedule, the rain pours and the two share a bath, laughing together. Harry waits outside, doing the good dad thing and prepping their clothes. When Yumi tells him to jump in, he gets totally flustered and refuses the fan service. When Yumi eventually falls asleep, Harry notes her weather prediction hacks are still 100% accurate. Shiroha admits she feels like she cheated by having such a perfect kid this summer. She thought being a mom would be a simple side quest for popsicles. The freezer is still full of them, but she's stopped eating them because it feels too cheap now. She wants to be the best possible mother for her, not just a temporary NPC. She knows she'll be a real mom someday, but this summer feels like she skipped ahead in the story. Harry assumes she wants kids soon, and she admits it, hoping they'll be just like Yumi. Hearing this, Harry takes her hand and confesses he can't stand a long-distance relationship. Shiroha feels the same, so Harry vows to grind enough money to visit her every weekend. Shiroha thinks the idea is crazy, but she can't help but feel that happiness buff. Later, they're walking hand in hand by the sea, and Harry asks if this is a date. To his delight, she agrees, admitting it's her first date ever, and his too. He jokingly roasts her for being a loner, and she admits they were both probably just too shy. As they watch a ship, Harry starts thinking about their future family. He asks if she'd prefer a boy or a girl, but she panics and pulls away, flustered. But then they both freeze as they realize they have completely forgotten Yumi. Again, they rush back only to find Yumi was nearby the whole time, watching them from the side. They decide to commemorate the day by taking some party photos together. Harry snaps a pic of the mom and daughter, but he can't stop thinking about that memory glitch. He wanted to make her summer perfect, yet he keeps forgetting her existence. Yumi shyly whispers to Shiroha that she wants a group photo with all 3 of them. Harry agrees instantly, capturing a moment of pure family happiness. They take the film to the shop to get developed, and Ao promises to notify them when it's done. Shiroha swears they'll pick it up together, though Harry is still scared of another memory wipe. Suddenly, they see a fireworks poster, the final event marking the end of summer. Harry feels that end-of-season sadness, but he promises Yumi they'll watch them together. That night, they're looking at the picture book they drew while Yumi sleeps. Shiroha realizes she never finished the story, so she reads the final page to the sleeping kid. Harry leans in, but realizes he doesn't actually remember how they wrote this ending. He wakes up the next morning to find Shiroha sleeping beside him, and both are totally shocked. Neither remembers starting this sleepover quest, and their cheeks flush as they realize how sus it looks. They try to reconstruct the events of last night, but the memory files are totally corrupted. Later, Yumi walks up to Harry, acting way too shy to ask her question. She leans over and whispers her secret mission to Shiroha instead. Shiroha gives her a soft smile, encouraging her to speak up. Yumi just wants a family photo of the three of them. Harry doesn't even hesitate, he's all in for the memories. With Yumi in the middle, they strike a pose and capture a moment of pure, wholesome happiness. Later that day, they head out to get the film developed. It's going to take a bit, so Ao promises to hit them up when the photos are ready. Shiroha swears they'll all pick it up together, but Harry is still low-key terrified of losing Yumi again. Suddenly, they spot a flashy fireworks poster in the shop window. It's for the festival tomorrow, which officially marks the end of summer break. Harry feels that end of summer sadness hitting hard, but he asks Yumi if she wants to watch the show with him. Yumi is hype and nods instantly, while Harry silently vows to make this a night to remember. That night, Yumi drifts off to sleep while her parents stay right by her side. On the floor lies the picture book they all worked on together. Shiroha realizes she never finished the story for Yumi, so she starts reading, and as she reaches the end, Harry leans in curious. Suddenly, a glitched-out memory flickers in his mind. He realized he literally can't remember how they even came up with this story in the first place. The next morning, Harry wakes up and finds Shiroha sleeping right next to him. They both jump up, completely startled to see each other there. Neither of them has a clue why they ended up having an accidental sleepover. Thinking back to the previous night, they both turn bright red, even though nothing actually happened between these two tsundias. Early that morning, Ao pulls up to Harry's place, walking in only to catch our MC and Shiroha looking totally flustered together. So she assumes they spent the whole night in co-op mode, and while they're awkward about it, they finally admit it, leaving Ao surprised even though she knew their romance route was basically canon. But she's actually there to deliver the loot, those photos they asked to be developed yesterday. As they check the drops, almost every single picture is just Shiroha solo, with only a couple featuring Harry in the frame. Ao notes Shiroha's smile has an op glow lately, teasing that it's definitely Harry's influence, which he shyly accepts, but as he looks closer, he feels a glitch in the inventory. Ao checks if some files didn't render, but that's not the issue, leaving even Shiroha staring at the photos in total confusion. Later, the two sit down for a breakfast of fried rice, when Harry randomly asks Shiroha to rate his cooking stats. Startled by the pop-up question, she hesitates before giving him a brutal 20 out of 100. In the kitchen, Shiroha notices all the utensils come in pairs, which is weird since Harry is supposed to be solo. While meanwhile, Harry wonders why he's even the one cooking when Shiroha's kitchen skills are clearly op. His gaze drifts to the picture book they crafted, but his memory is getting nerfed, and he can't recall why it even exists. Shiroha finds a paper airplane, so they decide to head outside and test its flight physics. They recall their last session, and Shiroha even remembers the legendary name she gave her plane. Together, they yeet their planes into the sky, but as they soar, another colorful plane suddenly enters the airspace. Both of them stare in confusion, as Harry's eyes suddenly start leaking tears for no reason. Shiroha starts crying too, because they both just remembered the promise to watch the fireworks together today. The festival grounds are packed with NPCs, but Shiroha takes Harry's hand and leads him to a secret shore, a private spot where they can watch the display without anyone else in the lobby. When the show starts, the visuals are absolutely breathtaking. The fireworks signal the end of the summer event, and realizing this triggers a major memory. Once again, the tears are falling hard, because they realize they failed to keep their original promise. Harry whispers an apology, but suddenly a hand reaches out and grabs both of theirs. To their surprise, it's Yumi, smiling as if she never left the party. With this, they both completely break down, as Shiroha pulls Yumi into a tight hug, apologizing over and over for the memory wipe. She begs her not to leave, promising to be the ultimate mother and do every activity together, from gaming to just enjoying the summer until the sun rises. But even if Yumi wants to stay in this lobby, her time is almost up. It's not because Shiroha failed the mother quest. In fact, Yumi assures them that this summer was a total 10 out of 10. She got to spend her days with her favorite party members, and she's incredibly thankful. Yumi thanks Harry for the fun, but he insists this can't be the series finale. Determined, he vows to make sure every season is a banger, not just summer. Yumi gazes at the fireworks, realizing they actually managed to complete their promise right at the last second. Encouraged, Harry suggests they set up a new quest. He wants Yumi to keep writing in her diary, and they'll make sure every entry comes true. He pleads with her to write more, but his voice cracks and the tears are back. Yumi gently disagrees with the plan. She can't write another diary entry. She's already satisfied having spent this summer with her mom and dad, but seeing their grief hurts her too. She apologizes through her tears, scared she's the only one walking away happy. For her, every day was pure joy, and she just wishes the summer could stay on a loop. Shiroha pulls her into an embrace, admitting she was happy too. She's just grateful they met before the credits rolled. Harry joins the group hug, confessing he had the time of his life, and wishes this season would never end. As the fireworks bloom, they reflect on every memory they created together. But all limited-time events must end. Yumi steps back and gives one final thanks before whispering her goodbye. She raises her hand to wave, slowly fading into the night like a glitch. Harry and Shiroha try to reach out, but she's already out of bounds. Yumi has officially vanished. When the silence hits, the night sky is finally quiet. But they don't even understand why they're crying. It's like they just woke up from a dream and didn't notice the festival was already over. All they can do is stare blankly at the dark sky above. Meanwhile, Yumi is on a massive journey through time, treasuring every memory of that summer deep in her heart. The summer she repeated countless times began as an adventure, but became something legendary. She found summers filled with friendship and shimmering memories, learning the importance of protecting those moments and the power of never giving up. Finally, she found the summer with her mother, which she cherishes most of all. She'd gladly wait forever just to stay in that moment with her mom. Next summer, Harry returns to the island, where Shiroha is waiting, and they walk hand in hand. Eventually, they marry for real. Their whole crew gathers to witness the ceremony, though it took a while to finally get Kobato's official approval. The old man is crying his eyes out, unable to accept that Shiroha is leaving the nest. Kyuko makes sure to represent Shiroha's mother with photos, so she's there too. They live happily at Harry's place, where every day feels like a dream. Sometimes Shiroha thinks she hears a child's voice, but she's focused on the life they're building. Seasons speedrun by, and Shiroha drops the news. She's pregnant. Harry can't believe it, but when she confirms, he screams in total joy. The duo starts prepping for the new player's arrival, and the islanders all chip in with everything they need. Everyone is hyped for the baby, who will eventually grow up to be Yumi. As the months pass, Shiroha's belly grows, and she sings lullabies to her daughter every single day. But one afternoon, things get weird. Shiroha sees a vision she just can't ignore, making her whole body tremble. Somehow she knows it's a girl and that they've already met. She hasn't had visions in forever, and she wonders why they're back. But slowly she sees the truth. She understands why Yumi appeared to them that one summer. She calls out to Yumi, who feels like she's right there in the room. Tears stream as she picks up the group photo they took, apologizing over and over, though Yumi knows her mom isn't to blame. When it's time to pick a name, they both have the same idea. Yumi. Shiroha isn't shocked, but Harry insists they need a backup boy's name just in case. Shiroha just tells him not to worry, she knows their child is Yumi. From there, Yumi notices her mother changing bit by bit. While Harry is working, Shiroha spends all her time researching old documents, searching for a way to stop Yumi from returning to the past. But in her quest, she frequently overworks herself. She just wants Yumi to have a normal life. Yumi remembers Harry saying the future can be changed, so she decides to do something that summer. If only Shiroha hadn't been given future sight. One afternoon, Harry comes home thinking she's just buried in books again, but finds her collapsed on the floor among scattered notes. That moment changes everything. Harry frantically calls for a doctor, but Shiroha only manages to write one final letter before blacking out. On that very day, their daughter Yumi is finally born. Harry tells Shiroha the news, trying to be joyful, but he gets no response. Shiroha lies motionless, her face covered, she's gone. He is devastated. Grieving, he cries out her name, gazing upon her for the very last time. The island friends gather to mourn the loss of Shiroha, while Yumi watches silently from the distance. She realizes everything her mother endured was for her, and unable to handle the pain, she runs away. Instantly she vanishes, returning to the summer Harry first arrived. She's back in the loop, but this time she keeps her distance. She thinks if they don't get close, the future will change. But they still meet by the pool and fall in love naturally. Their bond is unchanged by her absence. Yumi realizes Shiroha still remembers her even if she never appeared, meaning her mother has been time-traveling too. No matter what changes, the cycle repeats. Shiroha dies and Yumi is born. Trapped in this loop, Yumi relives Harry's first day over and over. It's not a future anymore, just an endless replay of a tragedy. She wonders how to save her mother, then remembers Shiroha's words about having a normal life. The only way to win is to let go of the ability that drags her back. Every time she runs away, she chooses the past over the future. Her mother was trapped too, and now Yumi has to break the loop for good. To her, this no longer feels like the future, but just an endless replay of the past. Confused, she wonders what quest she has to complete to finally save her mother. Then her mother's words hit her. If it weren't for this power, Yumi could have had a normal life. Suddenly, it all clicks for Yumi. The only way to change fate is to drop the ability that keeps pulling her back, an ability triggered every time she runs from the future. She realizes her mother might be trapped in this same repeating summer loop. Quietly, Yumi says sorry to her father. She decides not to follow him into the next loop this time. Instead, she's returning to where she belongs, even if it means she's gone for good. With her choice locked in, she selects a destination where her existence is basically a file not found error. Transforming into a butterfly, Yumi takes flight through the digital ether. But the more she flutters forward, the more her character data starts to corrupt. Every precious summer memory she's ever lived through begins to fade into a hazy, low-res mess. But just as she's about to hit a total system crash, a hand reaches out to catch her. Suddenly, the fragments of her summer playthroughs patch together, restoring the body she thought she'd deleted. As she reaches out to the butterfly, everything shifts into 4K, and she gradually opens her eyes to find herself surrounded by chickens. To her surprise, she's spawned inside a coop with a bunch of feathery NPCs. Noticing a name tag on one of them labeled Catherine, which is a pretty top-tier name for a hen, she thanks the birds softly. When the coop door suddenly flies open to reveal Kobato, who looks like he's staring at a glitch in the Matrix. Startled, Yumi asks where she is, only to realize her own memory files are completely missing. Seeing she's lost her ID, Kobato decides to let her stay at his base for a while. It's clear Yumi is suffering from a major memory nerf, since she can't even remember her own name. As they chat, a younger version of Shiroha peeks through the doorway like a shy NPC. And though Yumi greets her with high energy, Shiroha gets scared and sprints away. Finally, Kobato officially introduces himself, suggesting Yumi should head to the city to see if a doctor can fix her corrupted memory files. He even offers to be her escort after lunch, which is a major wholesome move. With that, Shiroha lays out a legendary spread of food for their new guest, and Yumi tries to be polite. But when Yumi mentions her dad told her about Shiroha, the girl's mood takes a dark turn. Tears well up as she reveals her dad has been sent to the Shadow Realm permanently, and she rushes outside in a panic. Meanwhile, Kobato walks in and wonders why Shiroha is crying again. But Yumi suddenly screams in fear, shouting that Kobato is also supposed to be dead. The old man has to explain that he's actually Shiroha's grandfather, not her father, encouraging Yumi to finish her food before it loses its fresh buff. Yumi takes a bite, and her taste buds are obliterated by how delicious the meal is. But Kobato casually mentions they just prepared the chicken that morning, which is why it's so top tier. Then Yumi's eyes fall on that same Catherine tag from earlier. Realizing she's eating her chicken coop buddy, she's so horrified she drops her chopsticks in shock. Before they can leave, Yumi spots Shiroha peeking out again and decides to approach the shy player. They have a quick heart-to-heart until Kobato calls for the party to head out. By afternoon, the pair actually returns to the base, leaving Shiroha wondering why the city quest was abandoned. They explain that just as Yumi was about to board the ship, she froze in fear and couldn't go through with it. Yumi admits she's a total coward when it comes to the sea, but she and Shiroha end up laughing about it anyway. Kobato then breaks the news that Yumi will be staying with them for the foreseeable future. Yumi asks if it's okay for her to be a permanent party member, but Kobato assures her it is. After all, Shiroha and Nanami are living together now, and since Grandpa is always working, having company is a plus. But he whispers a warning, don't bring up Shiroha's parents, especially her mother. He explains Shiroha's dad died in an accident, and her mom disappeared right after, which is a massive double tragedy. Losing her whole family within a month was a brutal experience, but Shiroha always keeps her cool and rarely cries. Since she can't remember her own name, they decide to give her a temporary handle. Yumi randomly mentions the 7 seas, which is ironic because she's terrified of the ocean. So Kobato suggests the name Nanami for now, which fits her perfectly. Kobato finds it ironic since she's terrified of even being near the water, but he suggests the name Nanami anyway and it sticks. Yeah, that name works. That night under the stars, Nanami wonders what her real name used to be. She reaches into her pocket and finds a mysterious butterfly wing. She looks up and sees a glowing butterfly fluttering right above her. Just then, Shiroha calls her for dinner, and Nanami heads back inside with a smile. Nanami spends her days wandering the island, searching for her lost memories. She walks everywhere, but her past remains a total blank. While Kobato is at work, Shiroha disappears all day, only popping back for lunch before dipping again until dark. One day, Kobato brings home a massive haul of seafood for the dinner grind. Nanami is hungry, but she notices Shiroha looks totally bored with the food. Even though sashimi sounds like a luxury, Nanami thinks a kid needs more variety than just raw fish. She hits the kitchen and whips up some fried rice to level up Shiroha's meal, hoping it'll finally make the kid enjoy dinner for once. After plating it, Nanami wonders where she even learned to cook like a pro. She calls it chofen, and Shiroha walks in to inspect the goods. They argue over the name until they combine them into the ultimate dish, fried fan. Shiroha takes a bite and finally smiles, mission accomplished. Nanami figures she was definitely tired of eating sashimi 24/7. Unbeknownst to her, Grandpa Kobato is standing right behind her. He startles her, but his eyes are locked on that plate of fried rice. He tastes it and admits it's good, though he looks a bit bothered by something. Kobato thanks Nanami for the meal. He sees she's got cooking stats, so he asks her to cook for Shiroha, then quickly walks it back, saying she's just a guest. Nanami is down to help, but he just finishes his plate and rushes out the door. The two girls are left alone, and Shiroha mentions it tastes just like her dad's cooking. She wants Nanami to teach her, but Nanami admits she just cooks by vibes rather than recipes. Plus, Kobato didn't seem too thrilled about her being in the kitchen, so Shiroha decides to take Nanami to her top-secret spot. It's a closed-down restaurant where her dad used to be the head chef. Her mom couldn't cook, but she was always there helping him out. But after her dad passed, her mom vanished without a trace. Shiroha thinks she went to find him since they were basically soulmates. Then Shiroha grabs a broom and starts cleaning the place up. Nanami realizes she's been coming here to clean, just like her mom used to do every single day. Nanami grabs a mop and joins the cleanup crew to support her. Back at the restaurant, Nanami whips up that fried rice again. It's good, but Shiroha says her dad's version was still superior. Nanami wonders what secret ingredient she's missing. That's when Shiroha remembers a secret recipe her father left behind. She hands it over so Nanami can follow the instructions perfectly. But there are some weird phrases in there that look like a riddle for mystery ingredients. Shiroha explains those are special island items, and she knows exactly where to farm them. First, an old-timer named Seiryu gives them a rod to catch the king of the ocean, a crayfish. Next, Suzaku hooks them up with some leftover veggies from the shop. After that, Genbu helps them draw fresh spring water for the rice. Finally, Bayako hands over a fresh pack of boar meat. With the loot gathered, they head home, but Shiroha zonks out on Nanami's back. Nanami tucks her into bed once they get back to the house. Kobato figures she just wore herself out having too much fun. Nanami mentions the friends they met, Seiryu, Suzaku, Genbu, and Bayako. Kobato gets triggered because Genbu is supposed to be his title, and someone else is using it. Still, he keeps his cool and thanks Nanami for hanging out with Shiroha. He tried looking for clues about Nanami's identity around the island, but found nothing. Nanami tells him it's fine, but he warns her to stay away from that closed restaurant on the hill. He says it only makes Shiroha sad, which makes Nanami wonder if her mom had any friends. Kobato says she had plenty, but her bestie was a girl named Kyoko. That night, Nanami goes to find Kyoko, who welcomes her in with open arms. They start talking about what happened to Shiroha's mother, Hitomi. She drops her intro, and Kyoko welcomes her into the base with open arms. But she remembers their last talk was about the tale of Shirohane. It's a legend about a woman who turned into a butterfly to see the person she loved. She sacrificed herself to the sea god, gaining wings but losing everything else. They start discussing the hidden lore of Shiroha's past. Kyoko says Hitomi was always fun, but got really attached to these old folktales. She also recalls Hitomi's motto. She always said she had no time for nostalgia. Walking home, Nanami is thinking about the legend when she gets a flash of a woman jumping into the sea. She freezes up, and all she sees is a butterfly. She looks at the wing in her pocket and wonders if it's the key to the mystery. The next day, they're back at the restaurant for more cooking practice. Nanami makes the fried rice again, but it's still missing that special something. She followed the recipe perfectly, so she doesn't get why the flavor is off. Shiroha says her dad's was a bit sweeter, so Nanami looks closer at the paper. She finds a tiny drawing of the sun at the bottom, a final clue. They spend the day hunting for the sun on the island, but nothing works as an ingredient. Suddenly, Shiroha's friends swarm her, hyped to finally play after all summer. Nanami asks the kids for help, and one of them remembers Shiroha talking about the sun. Shiroha gets teary-eyed as she remembers. She leads Nanami to a field of sunflowers. Shiroha unlocks a memory of her dad, sprinkling some mysterious black item drops into the rice. But when Nanami turns around, Shiroha is standing there, completely frozen in time. It's supposed to look like the sun, which honestly makes zero sense. Still, Nanami treats it like a quest clue, so they party up and set out to find it. They grind across the whole island searching for the sun, but they keep pulling empty loot drops. Out of nowhere, Shiroha's squad rushes in, hyped to finally see her since she's been AFK all summer. With the whole guild together, Nanami takes the chance to ask if anyone has hints for this puzzle. The NPCs think hard until Mickey remembers a random dialogue line Shiroha used to say about the sun. This triggers another flashback for Shiroha, and she instantly gets teary-eyed. She literally leads an army of friends straight to a sunflower field. They finally crack the code. The black things are sunflower seeds, a little sweet and exactly the missing crafting material. She's mesmerized by a butterfly fluttering into the night. This is the first time she's returned to this map since her parents were deleted from the server. Shiroha goes into full crying mode, aching to regroup with her mom and dad, but they've been sent to the Shadow Realm this summer. In that moment, Nanami desperately wants to restore Shiroha's lost files, but she just doesn't have the admin perms. Suddenly, a hazy memory fragments into her mind, making her vision go blurry with tears, as she silently vows that her main quest this summer is to buff Shiroha's happiness stats and make her smile. So Nanami attempts the fried fan cooking minigame again. But Shiroha notes the flavor is nerfed compared to her father's pepper-heavy version. Nanami takes the L, but immediately rushes back to the stove to restart the grind. She keeps cooking pan after pan, filling the sink with dirty items like she's speedrunning a cafe sim. Still, none of the results are tasting like S-tier loot. While Nanami crushes sunflower seeds, Shiroha looks like she's stuck in a loading screen, staring off into the distance. Nanami won't quit until she sees that smile, so she continues the cooking loop. And finally, after countless attempts, Shiroha takes another bite. This time, her eyes literally brighten up. Nanami has officially recreated the father's legendary recipe. Nanami hits a high-energy celebration, while Shiroha drops a sincere "thank you for the effort." Feeling confident, Nanami decides to try her own cooking for the first time. But the second it hits her tongue, something deep in her code starts to vibrate. The flavor feels strangely nostalgic, like she's played this level once before in a past life. A flashback image suddenly crits her brain. Shiroha notices the glitch and offers a head pat, pulling Nanami into a warm embrace to stabilize her. Later, they cook another batch of fried fan to present to the final boss, Kobato. Nanami claims Shiroha did all the heavy lifting, but Shiroha insists she was just the support player. Kobato takes a bite, and for a second, his entire expression shifts into something serious. The atmosphere in the room gets super tense, as Kobato demands they explain how they unlocked the restaurant's secret menu. He glares at Shiroha, reminding her she was banned from that specific map area. Crushed by the negative feedback, Shiroha disconnects and rushes out of the room. Now alone, Nanami's frustration meter maxes out, and she goes off on Kobato. She reminds him how much Shiroha practiced for this, and that he's being a total gatekeeper. She believes his grief is making him play the villain in Shiroha's story. Kobato finally softens, explaining that the fried fan is a memory anchor to the past. But Nanami isn't taking that as an answer, pressing him for the real lore on Shiroha's mother. Remembering Shiroha's joy at the restaurant, she grows suspicious of why Kobato is trying to shield her from these happy memories. Nanami demands the truth, insisting the restaurant is a holy site for Shiroha. Finally, Kobato sighs and drops the heavy lore. Not all memories have a happy tag. He reveals his late wife spoke of a mysterious power passed down through their family's lineage. But that ability always came with a massive price. Whenever he tried to read the fine print, she just dodged the question. She'd just tell him to enjoy the summer before the time limit ran out. Years later, their daughter Hitomi said the exact same thing, urging him to make sure Shiroha's summer events were always maxed out for fun. Then Hitomi vanished from the server, leaving Shiroha solo. The double-parent deletion broke Shiroha, so Kobato tried to region lock the restaurant. He feared the nostalgia would hit her with a permanent depression debuff. Kobato admits Nanami's support has been a major buff for Shiroha, but he still feels like a low-level NPC who isn't worthy of watching over her properly. As the sun hits the horizon, Nanami notices just how sad the soundtrack for this summer feels. She feels conflicted and decides she has to trigger the end of this melancholy arc. Suddenly, a glowing butterfly spawns right in front of her, acting like a quest marker that makes all her suppressed files come rushing back at once. She remembers her entire past life as Yumi, throwing paper airplanes with her mom and her dad Haori. She recalls the family photos and that fireworks event at the end of the season. But then the sad lore files open too, reminding her she ice-skied from the future just to see her mom again. In that moment, Nanami finally realizes her true purpose in this timeline. She returned to this specific summer to help the people she loves most, and the realization hits her with a massive emotional crit. She thanks the butterfly for the clarity and looks up at the sky, knowing exactly how she needs to rewrite the ending. Meanwhile, Shiroha is having a nightmare about an empty beach, where two sets of footprints are washed away by the waves, leaving her solo. She collapses, crying out for her parents who left her behind, when a glowing butterfly drifts down to comfort her in the dream. Shiroha wakes up feeling heavy, clutching her family photo like it's her last item. She wonders if the dream butterfly was some kind of message from the devs. Back at base, Nanami and Kobato are eating when he mentions a volunteer project at school, a parent-student event that Nanami finds weird for summer break. Kobato explains it's prep for the Natsudori ritual, and Nanami tries to push him to go to fix his relationship with Shiroha. But Shiroha has completely ghosted him since their last fight. She just stares at it, completely mesmerized as it flutters off into the night sky. Next morning, Shiroha wakes up feeling more alone than ever. The dream she had is weighing her down and won't let her go. Later, she's just sitting in the corner of her room, clinging to that family screenshot like her life depends on it. She wonders if that butterfly was a message from the other side. Meanwhile, Nanami and Kobato are having a meal together. Kobato mentions a school volunteer project where parents are invited to help out. Nanami is totally thrown off, wondering who the heck schedules school events during the summer break event. Kobato says it's all prep for the big Natsudori ritual coming up. Nanami thinks this is the perfect chance for Shiroha and Grandpa to patch things up, but Kobato asks her to go in his place instead. Nanami tries to refuse, saying he's the one who needs to go, but Shiroha's been completely ghosting him since their fight, locking herself in her room and even skipping her stamina meals. Nanami realizes he's been trying to apologize through his cooking this whole time. Kobato says the other kids would feel weird if a grumpy old man like him showed up, so Nanami is stuck with the task and she can only laugh. She regrets not being firmer with her no, but she's in it now. She thinks back to the festival and remembers making lanterns with her own father. The whole day was just top-tier wholesome vibes, complete with her mom's op dance moves. Locked into that memory, Nanami vows to give Shiroha that same top-tier happiness. The next morning, it's finally time for the lantern-making quest to begin. The classroom is packed with students and parents, but Shiroha is still AFK, which has her friends feeling super uneasy. Just as the worry starts to redline, they spot her at the school gate, finally making her way to the room. But wait, her grandfather isn't the one backing her up this time. When Nanami steps inside, she freezes for a second, totally overwhelmed by the massive amount of children in the room. She looks at Shiroha and makes a silent promise that together, they're going to craft the most op lantern anyone has ever seen. The teacher gathers everyone to explain the lore behind the ritual. She says this is when the spirits of loved ones return to the server for a limited time event. They check in on their family in the world of the living, then prepare to log off back to the other side. These lanterns are the guiding lights that help them navigate back to the afterlife. Hearing this, Shiroha's expression goes completely dark. She just stares at the paper lantern like it's her worst enemy. When Nanami asks what's the matter, Shiroha mutters that she doesn't want any part of this. To her, guiding those souls back just means a permanent game over, forever seeing her parents again. Overwhelmed, she slams the lantern down, shattering it into pieces before bolting out of the room in tears. Nanami tries to chase her, but a mob of children blocks her path like a wall of NPCs. They totally misread the situation, accusing her of bullying Shiroha and refusing to let her pass. Nanami begs them to move, but she's trapped, unable to reach her friend who just went rogue. Meanwhile, Shiroha keeps running until her stamina bar finally hits 0. Crying her eyes out, she looks at the empty sky and screams for her parents, finally admitting just how much she misses them. When Shiroha finally gets home, she notices a pair of slippers and some gear at the door. Looks like a mysterious visitor has entered the lobby. Sure enough, it's Grandma Kato, kneeling before the portraits of Shiroha's parents and paying her respects. It's her first time visiting, and she apologizes to Kobato for being so late to the party. Kobato tells her not to worry, saying Shiroha's parents would just be hyped to see her there now. Even so, Kato looks like she's carrying some heavy grief. She says she still can't believe they lost Hitomi too, wondering if it's tied to the Naru's family's forbidden ability. She touches her face for a moment, trying to keep her composure. Shiroha stays hidden in her room, eavesdropping on the whole conversation. Kato mentions someone is waiting for her at the port, and that she was only stopping by for a quick check-in. She says her goodbyes to Kobato and heads out into the night. But Kato hasn't gone far before Shiroha sprints out to catch her. Kato freezes, absolutely stunned at how much the little MC has grown. She whispers that it's almost like Hitomi is the one who orchestrated this meeting. Her dialogue hits right in the feels, making our girl Shiroha instantly tear up. With her voice shaking, she asks Kato if she knows where her mother actually went. She demands to know why it feels like Hitomi just abandoned her and left her behind. Kato shuts that down instantly. She doesn't give a direct answer, but she scolds Shiroha for even thinking her mom would do that. She takes her hand and remembers back when Shiroha was just a tiny NPC. She recalls how much Hitomi cared, always saying she and her daughter shared the same mysterious powers. To overcome that curse, Hitomi wanted every single summer to be 100% pure joy. Kato tells her to believe in her mother's love, even if the world feels empty right now. As Kato departs, Shiroha is left in the silence, her brain replaying those words on a loop. She wonders what powers her mother was talking about, but it's all a mystery. Nothing is making sense yet. What she does remember is the very first time she had that strange, glitchy dream. She woke up crying, but Hitomi was right there to comfort her. Shiroha told her about the dream, about a butterfly that whispered she had the power to see her mother. Back then, she thought it was just a glitchy story, but Hitomi just pulled her into a tight hug. Now she's connecting the dots. If they share the same lineage, Hitomi might have used that power to regroup with her father. This fills Shiroha with questions about the plot. But before she can overthink, Nanami interrupts the cutscene. Out of breath, Nanami calls out, looking just as worried as the rest of the classroom NPCs earlier. She tries to initiate dialogue, but Shiroha is totally bothered, her mind wandering off-map. Ever since that failed school project, Shiroha has basically been on Do Not Disturb mode. She rarely leaves her room, and the house soundtrack has gone dead silent. It's a rough summer arc, but Nanami has played through levels like this before. She remembers the golden times spent with her own parents, and that's the kind of summer she wants to unlock for Shiroha too. But before the rescue mission, she needs to understand the mechanics of this world. Nanami visits Kyuko again, asking about that legend of the woman who transformed into a butterfly. Kyuko explains that being a butterfly gives you wings to fly, letting you clip through time to visit the past or the future as you wish. But there's a massive catch. When the line between timelines disappears, freedom becomes a prison, and you're trapped in an endless loop. Just like summer only lasts from July to August, those boundaries are what make the experience S-tier. If you mod the game so summer lasts forever, it's no longer a vacation, it's a cage. Nanami drops a heavy question. If someone had the power to reset to see their favorite person, would they sacrifice their entire character profile for it? Kyuko admits she totally would. It contradicts her earlier logic, but she's honest about wanting to seize that chance if it ever spawned. Still, she reminds Nanami that she doesn't have that cheat code, so it's just a dream. Nanami, however, is deep in thought about the consequences. She prepares to leave, but Kyuko hits her with an observation. Nanami seems way more interested in Hitomi's backstory than finding her own identity. Nanami tries to play it off as island research, but Kyuko just smiles, hinting that Nanami must already have the full script since they've had this chat before. For a second, Nanami panics thinking her Yumi identity has been leaked, but Kyuko is just talking about their previous encounter. Relieved, she continues her walk, while Kyuko stares at the sky, whispering that the summer season is almost over. Walking home, Nanami analyzes Kyuko's words. It's hard to resist a time travel chance, especially to see a loved one, and she doubts anyone could stop that choice. She's learned a lot from her own repeated summer playthroughs, realizing there isn't just one fixed ending, but using that power seals the future forever. Days later, the island vibe shifts to excitement as the festival stalls finally line the streets. Kobato drops some gold for Shiroha, who is immediately hyped for some grilled squid. She gets her snack and her smile finally renders in 4K, shining brighter than ever. Nanami thinks that if they can just keep farming happy memories like this, the summer might be enough, and Shiroha won't feel the need to use her cursed time travel ability. Even though Shiroha was fated to be solo, Nanami's presence is a massive buff. She feels like her long journey finally has a purpose, but Nanami almost misses Shiroha watching her closely. She assures her she's fine and they keep strolling through the event. Until the main festival attraction begins, a woman takes the stage. She performs a graceful traditional dance, and Nanami flashes back to Shiroha doing the exact same moves. That night, as the festival peaks, everyone releases floating lanterns into the ocean. The streets are crowded with players, but Shiroha and Nanami stay back in a quiet zone. Shiroha recalls crying every day after her dad was deleted until she heard a mysterious voice, claiming she had the power to see him again, and she truly believed in the respawn. When she told her mom Hitomi wasn't happy, she was totally shook. Soon after, Hitomi vanished, and Shiroha convinced herself her mom just used the power first. That thought has been a heavy burden, leaving her lost in the open world. Suddenly, a glowing butterfly drifts past, and Shiroha's eyes widen. She apologizes to Nanami, saying she has to leave to find her mother. Convinced the butterfly is a quest guide, so she sprints into the crowd. Nanami reacts instantly, pushing through the NPC mob to keep up. Shiroha slips through the crowd like a pro, but Nanami is struggling to navigate. The chase leads them out of the festival area and to the edge of the forest. Nanami calls out, but Shiroha doesn't respond to her messages. A faint light gleams deeper in the woods, and Nanami presses on until she hits a massive clearing. Hundreds of glowing butterflies are swirling around a giant ancient tree, and Shiroha is standing right in front of it, feeling the aura. Nanami rushes to her side, but Shiroha is surprised she followed this far. She explains that Nanami doesn't have the key item to pass through to where she's going. Shiroha is certain her mom is on the other side, and since they share the same gift, she can follow. Then she asks Nanami if she's also a time traveler from another save file. Nanami just gives a reluctant smile, which is a total yes in anime language. With calm resolve, Shiroha says her final thanks for their days together. And before Nanami can argue, the butterflies surround her in a blinding light. Shiroha begins to vanish, and a desperate Nanami reaches out as she's pulled away. When Shiroha opens her eyes, she's spawned into an entirely different biome. The tree is still there, but it's surrounded by a vast field of white flowers. She wanders aimlessly, realizing she finally popped her special ability, wishing to see her mother, when suddenly Nanami appears to block her path. Nanami somehow forced her way into this zone to warn her of the danger. She tells Shiroha that if she continues, she risks losing all her precious memory files. Shiroha shakes her head, refusing to back down from her goal. Nanami even brings up Kobato, and how heartbroken he'd be if she despawned too. But Shiroha stands firm, claiming her future is a dead end anyway. She's convinced her mother abandoned her, and that truth is her main motivation. Nanami gently counters, saying Hitomi sacrificed herself for Shiroha's sake. She put her life on the line because she cared about her daughter. Still, Shiroha just wants to be with her mom again, no matter the price. Since Hitomi vanished, Shiroha's world has been unbearably lonely. Empty meals and solo walks to school are a routine that terrifies her. But Nanami promises that every summer ahead can be filled with estia joy and laughter. To prove it, she summons a glowing butterfly to show Shiroha a vision. Shiroha sees her future self standing by the pool where she first met the MC. She watches their bond slowly bloom into something legendary and unshakable. These aren't just illusions, they are fragments of a future that awaits her. The memories keep flowing, each one brighter than the last, until she can't believe it's her. It's a happiness she can only reach if she chooses to stay in the present. When the vision ends, Shiroha asks Nanami who she really is. Nanami almost reveals her true identity, but instead just urges her to go home. Moved by the potential of a happy ending, Shiroha decides to follow Nanami back. As they walk back to reality under a crystal sky, a butterfly whispers a thank you to Nanami. She knows it's Hitomi, so she whispers back a thanks to her grandma. They make it back just as the releasing of the floating lanterns begins. They stand together by the shore, watching the lights drift across the dark blue sea. Suddenly, glowing butterflies start spawning again, dozens of them. Shiroha realizes with a shock that they are coming from Nanami herself. Looking closer, Nanami's hand is starting to pixelate and fade away. Shiroha panics, but Nanami is at peace because her mission is complete. She knows she was born from overlapping memories, and her time is finally up. By showing Shiroha the future, she's unraveled her own existence in this timeline. Shiroha breaks down, but Nanami is happy because she got to meet the person most dear to her. She still won't reveal her true name, simply saying she's Nanami before walking away. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out, and Nanami freezes in her tracks. Standing there is Shiroha, but in her grown-up form. The older Shiroha recognizes her instantly, calling her daughter and using her real name, Yumi. Yumi is stunned, wondering how her mom could recognize her after all she's been through. A butterfly flutters past Nanami's ear, whispering a gentle thank you into the night. She knows it's Hitomi, and she whispers back her thanks to her grandmother. The two of them make it back as the sun starts to dip. Standing by the shore, they watch the lanterns drift across the dark blue ocean like glowing stars. Shiroha notices something weird. Glowing butterflies start appearing again, dozens of them filling the air. She soon realizes they're actually spawning from Nanami herself. When she looks closer, she sees Nanami's hand is slowly fading away like she's losing connection. Shiroha panics, but Nanami stays chill, like she knew this game over was coming. She knows she was born from 1,000 overlapping memories, and by showing Shiroha the future, she started to unravel. Now her time in this world is up. Shiroha breaks down, unable to accept that Nanami is happy even while she's disappearing. But Nanami insists she's at peace because she finished her main quest. She got to see the person she loves most, and for her, that's a perfect ending. Through the tears, Shiroha asks for her true identity one last time, but Nanami just smiles and says she's simply Nanami. With that, she starts walking off into the darkness. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out and stops her in her tracks. Nanami turns around, and standing there is Shiroha, but in her grown-up final form. And the adult Shiroha recognizes her instantly. She knows this is her daughter, Yumi. Yumi is stunned. How could Shiroha possibly know who she is after all this time? But before she can even process it, Shiroha pulls her into the ultimate motherly embrace. Voice cracking, she asks why Yumi would sacrifice her whole save file for this, explaining that her op power was meant for her own happiness, yet she used it to backtrack to this moment. But for Yumi, she's already reached 100% completion, because spending that one summer with Shiroha was the ultimate reward. Those memories with Haori in the party made for the most perfect playthrough she could have ever modded. Though Shiroha is still shook by how far back Yumi traveled, even changing her character skin just to reach her. It was all a support move to help her, but the lag in the timeline is undeniable, meaning the future is being rewritten as we speak. The original summer they were supposed to share is getting deleted, and Yumi will respawn as a completely different person. Even worse, if Shiroha can't reclaim her power, Yumi might face a permanent ban from existence. But Yumi already knew the risks and doubles down anyway, reminding Shiroha that even if this power feels like a curse, it granted her one legendary gift, the chance for this one last reunion. At that moment, Yumi drops the final line she's been